It is tough to trust healthcare when we look at the irreversible damage that have been done to our most vulnerable citizens. It's shocking. And then they got mad at President Trump for having an executive order to stop it, and they challenge it. Like, I don't quite understand it. Well, my next guest, Nick Holscher, is an epidemiologist, and he's going to get into the facts around the terrible sequelae of the mRNA injection. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
Nick, you've done incredible work. Your Substack is full of data and great information, which I'm appreciative of. I just worry the average person doesn't go look at Substack. So I want to give you this platform to talk about really what's happening. I have this graph here. We'll put it up. Chart 1. So we're looking at the infant neonatal mortality rate in the United States. So tell us what we're looking at.
Yeah, so everybody watching now, take a look at here, figure 1. So what do we see here? Well, this is official government data. And what this shows is the infant mortality, neonatal mortality over the past few decades. And as you can see, infant mortality has kind of been going down at a steady pace for a very long time. And right in 2021, right when the mRNA injections were rolled out onto young women, childbearing age women, we see a complete inflection point, a complete reversal of this, and now we see this infant mortality increasing.
But yet, Nick, I mean, we see this with our own eyes, but yet the Pediatric Association says it's perfectly safe. Now, Robert Kennedy stopped it on infants, but that's not enough. If you ask me, we should be taken off the shelf. But anyways, they still deny that we harmed these children.
Yeah, they still deny it. They still claim. Now we see the American Academy of Pediatrics come out recently against the new CDC guidance, recommending 6-month-olds to still get these mRNA shots. And they just ignore all of these catastrophic harms that are being uncovered. So, like that graph just showed. And then there's a few other graphs there that, infant mortality, even now in 2025, is up 77%, right? So babies born after this mRNA injection campaign are dying at a 77% excess rate. So this is a persistent issue now. We are seeing, it appears, a transgenerational problem thanks to these mRNA shots. And we know by multiple studies just how harmful it is to a pregnant woman, right? It's absolutely terrible. And yeah, look at that graph right there. That's what shows the 77% increase in mortality at that inflection point you see at the bottom on week 14, 2021. That's when the uptake began in childbearing age women. And it just hasn't stopped since. And we know now that the mRNA shots, now in multiple studies, do cross the placenta in women who are pregnant, right? So this mRNA does travel to the baby, reaches the baby's circulation, and then the baby starts to produce spike protein. And this has so many untold consequences. It's absolutely unthinkable that any leading pediatric organization would think this is a good idea to have little babies producing toxic non-human proteins.
You know, I often thought, I have this big, beautiful porch. I have a Queen Victorian home. And maybe on my days off, I just see patients and I treat them the old-fashioned way. You know, treat their symptoms, but get them eating good foods, out exercising. It cures a lot of ills without giving them these pharmaceuticals. Nick, some of your information, you know, as you said, the spike protein travels. So it isn't just in one part. It could be in the heart, in the muscle, in the brain. We're looking at, through ICD, I happen to know what that is, ICD group analysis. These are the codes that are on the infant's charts, that renal function up 135, that's dysfunction, up 135%, meningitis up 112%, sepsis up 90%, digestive and liver orders, I mean, neurological, cardiology, everything. Yep, cardiopulmonary up 38%. It's just like beyond me that we're still debating this. And we're talking about infant mortality. What about how we've sterilized many women? They cannot have any. We could go look, I think at chart 4. I think this still might be to moms here. Figure 4 shows the decisive infection week 14 of 2021 directly following mass mRNA injection of childbearing age adults. So what are we looking at here, Nick?
Yes, this shows proof that this is indeed a statistically significant inflection point right when the vaccines were rolled out and began mass uptake, right? So we know it's not just some random anomaly we're looking at. We know this is indeed statistically significant, a flip in the curve to increase mortality from where it was before. It was decreasing for decades. So that's what this shows. But yeah, you mentioned the sterilization of women. We do now have 2 studies that are very disturbing, to say the least. We have one, they injected rats. This was by Karaman and colleagues. They injected rats with mRNA shots. It actually destroyed 60% of their primordial follicles. This is the non-renewable egg supply in women, for those who don't know. And so these don't regenerate, right? And it also destroyed all the other types of eggs as well, even the ones that spawn after the base version, the primordial version. So it destroyed the primary, secondary eggs. It basically decimated the ovarian system. So we have that in animals, but then we also now have human data in a peer-reviewed study by Manichi and colleagues, looked at 1.3 million women. So they compared vaccinated to unvaccinated women. The vaccinated women had 33% lower successful conception rates compared to the unvaccinated women. So we see this now in large human data sets as well. So we do know that, yes, these are indeed fertility destroying injections.
You know, some pundits would say that that was the goal, right? There are some environmentalists, Bill Gates being one, that thinks we're overpopulated. And when he started buying farms, people were concerned he was going to manipulate seeds and other things to make us infertile. I have to ask this. I know you're very science, very, black and white. What is your guess to why they would subject human beings to this?
Yeah, so it appears there was a coordinated effort what's called population control operations. Now, a large proportion of countries do employ these already. You know, this is real. They have policies to reduce population growth. But this appears to be one of those ways of mass injecting sterilization injections into the population. And there are many key figures. Like you said, Bill Gates advocates for population reduction. Many of these governments would like to see less population size. And so it has been a plan. And so this appears to be one way to fulfill it through the mRNA injection programs.
Nick, once people have, I decided not to get the injection. Most of my family did not get the injection. It's funny, I was CEO of a hospital and I had a son-in-law who unfortunately was dying of ALS. So I left right before the Biden administration tried to use through OSHA. If you work in healthcare, you have to mandate the mRNA injection. I can tell you, if I was still in my position, I would have not done that to my employee. I know myself. I would have not done that. I think you got a fine. I would have taken the fine, even if I had to pay it out of my own pocket. But these poor people, and I don't blame them, right? They listen to their doctor. They listen to the rhetoric. The president of the United States, Anthony Fauci, saying, "You're killing your grandmother if you don't get this injection." How can we help them now? is there anything? I know Dr. Peter McCullough talks about detoxing from the spike protein, but I've talked to other people who said that's almost impossible. We can't detox from it. Is it just symptom control?
Well, the thing about the spike detoxification is those, so it's three compounds: nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin. And experimentally, in the laboratory, they do directly degrade the spike protein. So we know they can do that. But what remains to be proven is, can they do it in human beings? We do know that these do reach circulation, and we do now have multiple case reports showing improvements in these clotting syndromes, spike-induced clotting syndromes with these thrombolytic, or with these antithrombolytic compounds. So we are seeing promise with that base spike detoxification. But yeah, there are so many things that we have to do in addition to that. Like you mentioned earlier, lifestyle is absolutely critical. You need a good diet. You can't be eating hyper processed garbage. You need movement every day, 10,000 steps preferable. That reduces your risk of all cause mortality, diabetes, reduces risk of cancer, death. Recent studies showed that actually 7,000 steps now appears to be adequate. And you also definitely want sunlight. That is vital. There's two studies showing adequate vitamin D levels. When you bring it up from inadequate to adequate, and you have myocarditis from the injections or post-vaccination syndrome, it improves those symptoms dramatically when you raise those vitamin D levels. And so, yes, you want to get sunlight, not just for the vitamin D, but for the thousands of other benefits, cellular benefits, and metabolic benefits as well. So yeah, lifestyle is critical, and then we have to move into the targeted interventions.
And those targeted interventions are what you were talking about before?
Yes, yes.
Yep. Yep.
And then there's many other, enzymes people are proposing now. But what we really need is large scale, double blind, placebo controlled trials to truly assess the efficacy of these targeted interventions. And the government's not paying for any of it. They're not initiating any of these studies, and so they really have to step up to the plate now.
Yeah. And we have to change policy, right? Where pharmaceutical companies aren't immune. They should take responsibility. In my previous section with the transgender children, I hope they sue the pants off of the physicians, the hospitals, everybody. These poor children are suffering so bad. And the same with the people who got mRNA. My brother ended up getting it because his work said he had to, and he got myocarditis. And to this day, he's not the same. He's suffering. I know tons of people, strokes, heart attacks, all kinds of other weird things, respiratory things you can't quite pinpoint. But we've done this to a whole generation. And now there's a lot of talk, Nick, about the turbo cancers, and that some of these and I don't know if this is conspiracy theory or not. I'm just kind of repeating what I heard. I have no evidence to this, that some of the pharmaceutical companies are divesting, and or places like BlackRock, and are now starting to buy up and develop cancer centers because they know the influx that is going to come.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, because we clearly now see the influx in excess cancers, excess cancer deaths since the mRNA injections rolled out. And like you mentioned, COVID-19 vaccine-induced turbo cancer has now been defined in the peer-reviewed literature last week in a new study by Dr. Paul Merrick in the Journal of Independent Medicine. They have elucidated this syndrome. It is real. It's not a myth like media likes to claim. And so, yeah, this is very unfortunate. It appears to stem from what's called the cascade of harms from mRNA injections. That's why we see all these various different issues pop up in some vaccinated individuals. Everybody appears to be different in what they experience, because the mRNA injections begin the chaos molecularly at what's called the transcriptomic level. We just proved that in a recent study. It's now on the preprint server undergoing peer review. It actually dysregulates thousands of gene expressions critical for immune regulation, mitochondrial function, and it does invoke cancerous activity by suppressing tumor suppressor genes P53 and BRCA. So it does that transcriptomically, and then we now have another study that came out last week that shows proteomically. So the proteins being produced now from this dysregulated transcription are defective. They're causing all sorts of issues, and then you move up to tier 3 of the cascade of harms, and then you reach biochemical. So we do see after injection now elevated CRP, so inflammation. We see BNP. We see these cardiac enzymes elevated, indicating cardiac damage. And then the last tier is clinical. That's why we see various different harms clinically: myocarditis, clotting syndrome, strokes, and cancers.
Well, Nick, you're full of information, vital information for all of us. I wish our time was longer. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Let's face it, you can't trust Big Pharma. They've already tried to block ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and raise prices on everything from antibiotics to your daily meds. Well, there's good news. All Family Pharmacy is standing up for medical freedom and helping people get the treatments they actually want. My family and I use them all the time. They made it easy and affordable without the runaround. While other pharmacies are jacking up prices, they've actually dropped theirs. Ivermectin now starts at just $2 a capsule. Use my promo code Lindell10, you get an extra 10% off of that. You need ivermectin, antibiotics, or methylene blue, you name it, they've got it. They make it simple. You fill out a short online form, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your meds ship fast right to your front door. If you want to be prepared and have your medications on hand, this is your new pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10 saves you even more. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10. Let's face it, you can't trust Big Pharma. They've already tried to block ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and raise prices on everything from antibiotics to your daily meds. Well, there's good news. All Family Pharmacy is standing up for medical freedom and helping people get the treatments they actually want. My family and I use them all the time. They made it easy and affordable without the runaround. While other pharmacies are jacking up prices, they've actually dropped theirs. Ivermectin now starts at just $2 a capsule. Use my promo code Lindell10, you get an extra 10% off of that. You need ivermectin, antibiotics, or methylene blue, you name it, they've got it. They make it simple. You fill out a short online form, a licensed doctor reviews it, and your meds ship fast right to your front door. If you want to be prepared and have your medications on hand, this is your new pharmacy. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10 saves you even more. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell10.
Well, welcome back to the show. You know, periodically we've talked about the pandemic, how it started in the Wuhan lab, what we did prior to a vaccine, although it didn't fit the definition of a vaccine. We were given mainly hydroxychloroquine around my area. I was prescribing it quite a bit. It didn't cure the virus, but it helped shorten the duration if you gave it early enough. But then there was propaganda against hydroxychloroquine. And then when the mRNA injection came out, there was such a push. Remember, even the director of CDC at the time, Rochelle Walensky, she was like, if you don't take this, you're going to kill your grandmother, and you're the reason it's spreading, which we found out that was all a lie. Well, I am very excited to have Dr. Peter McCollough on my show. I've been listening to him for years now. He's done a lot of research. He's published or been involved with over 1,000 publications. He is absolutely research-based, evidence-based research. So welcome to the show, Dr. McCollough.
Thank you.
Early on, you know, the injection was being pushed so much, and there was a lot of propaganda along with it. And if you spoke up, you were silenced. Before we get into some of the research that you've done, you were a victim of someone trying to go after your board certification, were you not?
Well, you know, in 2020, I was the first to publish a comprehensive multi-drug treatment protocol for acute COVID-19. That became the basis for the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons home treatment guide. And that group is an evidence-based, consensus-driven physician organization. So we already had a good early treatment program in the United States in 2020, and that was well ahead of any government or university guidelines. But I first, under oath in the Texas Senate in March of 2021, expressed my concerns regarding the COVID vaccines. We already had 90 days of data. Things weren't looking good. And then in September of 2021, the American Board of Internal Medicine posted a COVID misinformation policy. And then they went back in time to my Texas Senate testimony and said, you violated the policy. So I violated a policy that didn't even yet exist. And then they pursued it from there. And so in the fall of 2024, this drug on for years, I went ahead and resigned from the American Board of Internal Medicine. And I'm certified through the National Board of American Surgeons and Physicians. So there's multiple boards, and it's not a big deal. So,
yeah, I know, but it's tragic anyway. You were just doing your job, and you are a true patient advocate because you're trying to educate not only patients, but providers as well. Part of your research, you know, it was told to us in the beginning that the injection just is going to stay in your deltoid muscle. Well, you found out that is not true. You've seen it. In the heart, in the brain. Tell us about some of the information that you've gathered.
Yeah, there's many papers to cite. They're all listed on my Focal Point Substack. So if anybody wants to go to Substack, Focal Point, sign up, they can get the free email. But Perry and colleagues demonstrated the vaccine does go everywhere in the body quickly. Disturbing areas. It goes to the female ovaries, for instance, the heart, the lung, the brains, kidneys. And then damage occurs where the vaccine settles in. And probably each person's distribution is a little bit different. So we see a whole array of vaccine injury syndromes. But for instance, Crossan and colleagues found the messenger RNA vaccine and the spike protein in the human heart, causing heart damage in fatal cases, sadly. So the COVID-19 vaccine heart damage results in death. We should never have a vaccine that results in death. It's completely unacceptable. One death is unacceptable. And yet this has been shown clearly. Ota and colleagues recently showed that the blood vessels in the brain of people suffering brain hemorrhages and other intracranial bleeding, it actually is just being inflamed and dissolved by the vaccine spike protein. And Hannah and colleagues found that the messenger RNA is actually it's in breast milk. So it's in modified sweat or breast milk going from the mother to the baby. It's in cord blood. So expect it to be everywhere. We have data in a patient who I saw today in the office, convincing data that 3.2 years after the shots, he still has circulating Pfizer, fragments of Pfizer, DNA contaminants, and spike protein in his blood. And it's terrible. He's had blood clots, heart damage, every complication you can imagine.
My goodness. And how did you discover that? Is that through a blood test?
Mm-hmm. We did extensive blood testing here in the United States, and we used a research lab in Germany, in Modia, where they're now using PCR and ELISA techniques to nail this down. So this is very disturbing that synthetic messenger RNA from Pfizer can be readily identified in somebody even 3 years after the shots.
Wow.
When these were rolled out, there were no pharmacokinetic or pharmacodynamic studies. No one knew how this was going to get out of the human body. It was an incredibly reckless idea to begin injections with messenger RNA.
I know it. You know it. It's still on the market. Do you think there's a chance that through, what RFK is doing, that it'll eventually be taken off the market?
I don't think so. We have a situation where it's on the market in name. No one's taking it. The CDC stopped reporting the exact numbers. Now they just do a survey of who may take it. To my knowledge, and what my estimate is, I think fewer than 5% of anybody's taking a shot. It would mean they're on their 8th or 9th shot. That would be unprecedented for any vaccine. The COVID's been over for years now. People are back to normal. They're traveling in restaurants. I don't think anybody sees the threat. A very good paper by Chin and colleagues, New England Journal of Medicine, October of 2024, from the U.S. prison system. It's a very good paper to quote: 59,000 prisoners, 17,000 staff. Once somebody had been through the Delta or Omicron phase, there's a 0% chance risk of hospitalization or death with another episode of COVID. 0. And that the vaccine doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether they not take a vaccine. I tell you, in prisoners, they want to get out of prison, go to a hospital for a while, get a little break, and zero risk. So, like I got called today. One of my patients has COVID. I'm not concerned at all. He's already had it. There's a 0% chance he's going to get sick.
I used to test my own blood all the time. Every time I had a cold, I'd see if I had any, I'd wait a little bit, see if I have any antibodies. And to my knowledge, I never had COVID. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones, nor did I take the injection either. Now, in your practice, we now know about the risk of myocarditis. But again, for a long time, it was being denied. And we saw it especially in young men. Once they get that myocarditis, do they have permanent scarring or permanent sequelae of that initial inflammation?
Well, let me just say that now, since our May 21st, 2025 Senate hearings, Homeland Security, Governmental Affairs, the Permanent Subcommittee for Investigations on Myocarditis, we established in a very comprehensive report, that the U.S. government and the companies work to cover up the myocarditis risk, to conceal that from Americans. So more people took the shots, more heart damage occurred. In fact, deaths occurred because of that cover up. That's now apparent. Both Pfizer and Moderna now list heart damage as a side effect from the vaccines. And as a cardiologist, I can tell you no vaccine is worth it for any degree of heart damage. They're simply not worth it. We do everything in cardiology to protect the heart, right? So they do cause heart damage. A Rasmussen survey just after our Senate testimony indicated 51% of Americans know that. And the heart damage can range from being very small. It's not even detectable by MRI or ultrasound. The patients just have some chest pain, and nonspecific findings. We call that subclinical vaccine myopericarditis. To apparent heart damage, that's clinical myocarditis, with elevations in troponin, EKG changes, evidence of heart failure or cardiac arrest or sudden death. And so the large areas of scar, as reported by Jenna Schauer and colleagues, more than 15% of the ventricle being scarred, I think those are permanent. And those young people are likely to develop heart failure or cardiac arrest in the future. It doesn't look good for them. Less than a 15% scar, and I've certainly seen less than 7% see that resolve. We know that McCollough protocol-based spike protein detoxification, we can talk about that later, plus in a critical prescription drug called colchicine, that they're mandatory for at least a year to get the heart to heal. So I see patients with this every day in my practice, and I'm hopeful we can get complete resolution. Very disturbing paper was published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology by Kouzma and colleagues, demonstrating cardiac arrest years after the vaccine, and they had vaccine microscars in the heart at autopsy.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Shocking, disturbing, scary. And I want to let you know, about 18 months ago to 2 years ago, I was told by a young couple who had a child in New York, they were offering that newborn to have an mRNA injection. I know now the CDC does not recommend it, but they were offering that well after the pandemic was finished. So it's scary to me in my own field that there's still some ignorance around it. I don't know how to get trust back in our fields. I don't know. People feel very much lied to. And of course, the people who have had vaccine injuries, it's so devastating. You were talking about the heart. We know there's neurological issues, sterilization. People having the miscarriage rate went up so much from the injection, and now there's, infertility problems. So I know you said we could get into the detox program maybe another time, but could you touch on it slightly while we have a few minutes?
Well, importantly, we know that a lot of the damage is due to the spike protein, which is retained in the body. And so recall that the virus has the spike protein, the little spikes on the surface of the virus. Well, the little tip gets into the body after COVID. It's called the S1 segment. With the vaccine is a genetic code for massively loading the full-length spike protein in the body. The spike protein was devised in the Chinese biosecurity lab in Wuhan, China. So everybody who's had COVID or taken the vaccine, they have a little piece of this protein from China in them. It's an amazing thought. But in those with vaccinated, sadly, we find sky-high spike protein levels, antibodies and antigen when we measure it. The body is loaded with it, is causing inflammation, autoimmunity, organ damage, blood clots. Spike proteins found in blood clots. So fortunately, the natural substances, nattokinase, which is a naturally available enzyme, and bromelain, another one, clearly dissolve the spike protein. And then we use curcumin, another natural product, to block spike protein inflammation. There may be other medicinal products that work to either denature the spike protein or block inflammation, including augmented N-acetylcysteine, sereptase, lumbrokinase, papain, as an example. But what we did at the Wellness Company, I'm the chief scientific officer there, is we combine nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin in high doses, plus minor ingredients. And the product's called the Ultimate Spike Detox. Ultimate Spike Detox. We feel it's mandatory for virtually every person who's taken the vaccine or with long COVID. I've treated them for years now. They don't get better until we begin to get the spike protein out of the body. We see antibodies to the spike protein go down, and people basically clear themselves of this. The messenger RNA, we don't have any methods right now to get rid of it. We know it does come out in sweat. It may come out, in other body secretions. So we tell people, hit the sauna. You want to have lots of perspiration. There may be some data suggesting that hyperbaric oxygen therapy may play a role. as well. But there are no human RNases to get rid of it. So like I say, it was very reckless for the government and Pfizer and Moderna to use this technology. And people are so regretful because they take the shot and they can't get it out of their body.
Yeah, and you can't blame the patient, right? They're listening to their provider. They're watching on television. They're hearing President Biden, Dr. Anthony Fauci. They think, oh, it's a doctor telling me I got to take it. Or not only could I die, I'm going to kill my grandmother. So I don't blame people for taking it. I was just suspicious because I was a provider, and I didn't think there was enough study on it. And we knew some early information. As you said, we did know some early information about some of the side effects. Do you think it's important for there to be accountability? We know the drug companies have immunity, and maybe that could change in the future, but where was our academic institutions? I'm from New Hampshire. I have Dartmouth College here. I knew a young resident who told me he wanted to say the risk and benefits to a patient, and he was reprimanded. Yeah. How can we build trust in our field if you're going to just do the company line? It seemed to me so anti-patient focused, that whole thing that we lived through. And is that important for us to have accountability, or do we just say it happened and move on? My issue with saying that is, will they do it again? Will they hide information from patients in the future?
Well, for patients who've suffered heart damage and been hospitalized, and sadly for families who have lost loved ones, I don't think trust will ever be rebuilt, particularly if a doctor strongly recommended it. But we have examples in the past. 1860 to 1920, there was a giant misadventure with cocaine. Virtually all the drug companies made cocaine products. It was in food products. And the doctors and nurses became brutally hooked on cocaine. It was so bad that we had to pass laws to essentially take it away from the doctors and nurses and the public. And, there was only one paper of concern published in JAMA in 60 years over healthcare providers getting addicted to cocaine. It was terrible. Then we have smoking, 1920 to 1978. It was terrible. Virtually everybody smoked. Philip Morris, American Tobacco, and RGR Reynolds had big physician participation in advertising campaigns. Doctors handed out cigarettes to their patients. They smoked in the hospital, in the operating room. And even when it was presented to them, 1950, Richard Dahl and Sir Austin Bradford Hill presented smoking caused lung cancer. The doctors didn't believe it. They tried to smear the presenters on this. And then the U.S. Surgeon General called healthcare leaders to Washington, presented the U.S. Surgeon General report on smoking in 1964 and said, listen, it's not healthy. It's causing cancer. The doctors still rejected that. They continued to smoke. And then the first campaign about the hazards of smoking came out in 1978 by the AMA. So these are two examples. Listen, when the doctors participate in this and the nurses, they don't come out and recognize they're wrong quickly at all. And that's something obvious, like smoking. The doctors all took these shots. So did the majority of nurses. There's not a single doctor in the country, let's say a chief of medicine at a major institution, that stepped out and expressed any concern. Now, most are not out there promoting the vaccines. They're just shamefully quiet. They know they've done something horrible to themselves, their family members, and for their patients, and now they don't know what to do. They're just quiet.
Yes, you're so right. And there was a famous adage, something about the worst thing that a good man can do is say nothing, or something like that. And you're right. Maybe they weren't actively out there, but they did not stand up and talk about the truth behind the messenger RNA. Very
even
thoughtful.
Even now,
Yes.
we have thousands and thousands of peer-reviewed papers. And, there's no continuing medical education programs on vaccine injuries like myocarditis or blood clots. There's no grand rounds. There's no review. The students and residents and nurses are not documenting their vaccine history or their COVID history. They're just completely whitewashing this.
Wow. Well, you and I and others are going to start a revolution on that one. I am actually going to recommend that the the American Hospital Association have you as a featured speaker, because it starts in our big academic centers too. We got to stand up for what is right and look at the peer review research and be teaching that to the young residents, to the nursing students. But anyways, this whole subject gets me hot. I'm sure it does to you as well. But I'm so appreciative of the work that you've done, that you continue to do, and your voice is so refreshing. It's based in real science, and it's actually validating to people like me, who was just this little voice in a big pond that, wasn't really listened to nationally. So we're very, very grateful for people like you, Dr. McCollough.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being on the show tonight. I hope to have you back soon.
Very good. Thanks for having me. Make sure you follow me everywhere on social media. Visit McCollough Foundation, McColloughFND.org. That's what supports our efforts in the media and public policy. Check out my new book, Vaccines, Mythology, Ideology, and Reality. This is a bestseller on Amazon right now. It's 300 years of history in a rapid, gripping narrative of essentially explaining how people lost their minds over vaccines, hundreds of years ago, and they still did today. It's the same type of a vaccine delusional belief system that people have. I still meet people who they can't see their family members because they didn't take a COVID vaccine in 2021. That's this vaccine religion, this false belief in vaccines. And sadly, the COVID vaccines never stopped the infection, never stopped transmission, never saved lives, didn't make it less severe in any prospective randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial. No valid study showed that they worked. And they didn't work because they kept telling you to take boosters every few months. A vaccine that works after the primary series and gives meaningful protection. Here, virtually everybody vaccinated got COVID. That tells you they don't work. But we can certainly do our part, I think, by messaging the truth, and we're waiting for the major academic medical centers to do their part. I'm Dr. Peter McCollough. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow. What a great amount of information in a short amount of time. And I would recommend you go to Amazon right now and buy his book. I'm going to buy it. A man like Dr. McCollough, we really haven't seen, right? In the healthcare industry, we should have thousands upon thousands of people like Dr. McCollough who come forward and want to show you peer-reviewed research, want to tell you the truth, want to talk about the information. But sadly, we haven't seen it, and we're still not seeing it. And I guess that's why I get so frustrated. But I'm so appreciative he came on the show today, and we'll be talking more about his book in the future. So make sure you go to his Vocal Substack, where you can actually see some of the research. I don't know if it's downloadable. Check it out. Well, I thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I will see you on Wednesday.
I'm pointing to Mike Lindell. That man suffered. That man suffered. The FBI thugs went up to him and they took away everything he had. He suffered. And Mrs. Lindell.
Then you guys come up and serve me papers in Colorado.
What is this? Sir, what is this?
My Pillow guy Mike Lindell says the lawsuit is a sham.
How dare him come and sue my pillow?
They went after him. It was just terrible. This was a vicious weaponization of your government. But he's all, I'll tell you, he stood up. He's all man. He stood up strong.
Do I think you guys and them are a traitor to our country by what you did to my pillow? Yes. We are made in America.
Lindell says he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars.
And nothing was going to faze him. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody, Mike. You put up with a tremendous amount.
How do you guys sleep at night? You obviously don't have a my pillow. That's a fact.
He's a great guy.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mike Lindell Show. And I wanted to get Carlos Cortez on here. He is one of the greatest sponsors here at Lindell TV of all time, and he's with America's First Retirement Plan.com. And you guys, I want to get him on because if you're like me, you're going out there, wow, look at that stock market going up, and I'm so excited. They're talking about reducing the interest rate and bringing that down, the Fed down in September and stuff. So Carlos, I know you and I called you and I'm going, hey, I talked to you earlier and I'm going, hey, I'm excited. And you're going, hey, there's a lot more stuff that goes in it. That's why you're a financial planner guy and I'm not, right? So can you give us a little insight of that? What would you tell someone like me that's just ready to go all in? What would you say to somebody like me?
I love it because your heart is there. You're passionate about America as well as all of us are, and it's contagious, and we love that. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to the markets are really manipulated, and there's something called bro investors. Like, hey, bro, check out this stock. Hey, bro, did you see Yahoo Finance? Did you see the media? Whenever you get your advice from the bro investors, that's where the real problem happens. But when it comes to your actual retirement, we do want to make equity-like returns. That is absolutely what we want to do, but we also have to preserve what we have as well. We got to be smart. And so there's something called a volatility index that controls that basically gives us the measurement, the temperature of the greed and fear index. And that has been going down every time the market goes up. But just like any stock, Mike, when it hits that bottom, it usually pops right back up. It doesn't matter who's in office. And so when we have that, we also have divergence. So a lot of the momentum is coming down. Like the market is losing a lot of actual institutional momentum while prices are going up. You mix that in with a bunch of interest rate debacle. Hopefully next month they lower the interest rates and we'll see a bump in the market. I could be wrong, but my personal advice, and I can't give advice publicly, but what I would do is be cautiously optimistic. We want to make money when the market goes up, and we want to protect ourselves when the market goes down. And that's what we do here at America First Retirement Plan.
Right. And you look at things on the surface, everybody. Look at Cracker Barrel. I'm following that and I'm going, wow. And then I'm going, as soon as the president put out that truth, I'm going, you wait till tomorrow morning when they drag it back. Well, then I guess you got to, but then I'm thinking, I seen this other guy come out and saying he was a financial planner. He put out there, he goes, hey, you better just look at what they were before all this, because you got anomalies that are happening. That's an anomaly. You got a lot of anomalies going on. And you always have to look at that, Carlos. That's why you're an expert, and that's why we're not. And so I encourage you all out there, everybody, go to AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com, and I want you to call the number you see on the screen, 833-813-3446. And when they go there, Carlos, what are they going to get? What are they going to get? Some advice? What to follow the customer right now? What would I get if I called you up?
Yeah, so you can download a free guide on America First Retirement Plan. We have a color system, so red money, yellow money, green money. Most people have red money if you have a 401k, IRAs. There's no downside protection going into Q3, Q4. There is a lot of risk out there. So you want to understand that, hey, I own red money, I own mutual funds, I own stocks, I own crypto, I own gold, silver, metal. All these things do not have a backup stop. There is no protection there. However, there's speculation. So at green money, which is what we specialize in, there are contractual base. We have principal protection. We have insurance companies protecting and guaranteeing your money. Not everybody has access to it. On Wall Street, they definitely don't like green money, and that's why there's a huge culture clash. But there's also yellow money. Yellow money is going to be your traded accounts. It's going to be money that it's liquid. They understand the manipulations. And we want to just make sure that you understand the different colors out there. And you can go to AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com, download a free guide. And it's just good to get a second opinion. It only takes 10, 15 minutes to have a conversation to make sure we are a good fit for you and them with us as well. So.
Right. And you guys, I'm all in with Carlos. He's been with us now, about 6 months, maybe longer, that I've got to know him, that I went all in. And just a great sponsor of the show. He has his own show here on Lindell TV, because it's important that we're not experts. I'm not an expert. That's why we reach out to, and Carlos, I thank you for being here, but part of Lindell TV, and be able to give advice as a financial planner, do all these different things, because you guys, right before this, I get on the phone with Carlos. I'm going, hey, I'm looking to make this is going to be huge coming in September. Look where the market's going. And he's going, well, there's other factors, Mike. And this is the stuff that that we all don't know. And there's, like you say, when you talk about market manipulation, I watch this all the time. I'm going, this should be going down, and all of a sudden it goes up. Well, there's guys that are a lot smarter than the average person out there, and this is what we got to get. This is why you all need to call to give a call here at 833-813-3446. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain, or go to AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com and check it out, you guys, right now. And Carlos, we're gonna get back on with you. I think weekly here. I think we're gonna start doing it weekly, because you guys were coming into times. Everyone's going, this is gonna go this way. This is gonna go this way, and then you're finding out it's flip flopped, and that can be good and bad, everybody. So we're not. You see, people are still really hesitant in a lot of ways to take risk factors, and they wonder where to put their money safely. I think there's a lot of questions out there, because we are in an anomaly in history. Do you agree, Carlos? There's been nothing like this. And you guys, for Carlos to take all of his expertise over years and years of studying this and learning it and doing it and being this great financial planner he is, and you take all them factors into play and go, hey, this is my best advice would be, trust me, better than any advice any of us could give each other or anyone out there. So thanks, Carlos. God bless you. And we'll see you. Like I say, if you don't mind making this like a once a week, I think right now, where things are moving so fast, do you agree that a person can blink for 2 days and everything changes, right?
In this interest rate environment, in this high velocity news environment, nothing's out of the equation, brother. Nothing. And so my concern is just making sure people are safe out there.
Right on. All right. Well, God bless you, everybody. Thanks, Carlos, and we'll see you next time. And once again, thanks again for being part of Lindell TV.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at nirvantahealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to nirvantahealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.